Good morning, folks. Welcome aboard another day of building Evie. It's almost a nice day. Well, it's been pretty nice. Anyway, in this one, then we're undoing what I did wrong and preparing to fit the window frames, that is. And without further ado. So you may recall this is where I left you last time with the very yellow window liners, bus windows, all waxed in the yellow. They're the same colour as the walls, but obviously on different wood. Then it came out differently, and it was just bright yellow, and it jarred with me. And Brad, when he was over sorting out worktops with me at one point, then he said, well, you can sand it off and then we can start again. And we made a little test on one of the portholes for what it would look like. And so this is starting to sand off the wax, and this was what can only be described as a painful process. I'm trying something new here. I've sort of only sped it up to I think twice instead of 4 times, so you can see a bit more of what's going on, but there's a few more jump cuts and stuff, and I obviously won't show you me doing this all the way through, but I do want to share my pain with you. It was not as you can see, the sandpaper just gets clogged up, and so I figured, well, it wasn't actually kind of knackered, so I could just kind of scrape off a bit of the wax that was stuck in the sand grains. Getting into the corners was definitely a by hand job, and this, well, at this point, then I'm still doing the frames themselves by hand. I did. Well, you can see that sand just in the background there. I did try that fairly early, but well, I decided that it didn't work overly well. Later on, then I figured that I got a different sander out, but getting into the corners, particularly the right angle corners here, a complete pain in the proverbial. But you know, when it's wrong, then it's wrong, and it would have, if I had just left them as they were, then, and some people told me they were okay, but they weren't what I wanted, and so I had to do something, and this was what was the answer. So getting into the corners, the right angle corners, definitely not a pleasant job. But anyway, that is the one done, and then I realized that also as well, then where I had, before I'd got the piece of 19mm attached to the side of the circular saw, then at the corners and things, then it was all of a bit of a mess at the back. And whilst it didn't really matter, then you know, I wanted to kind of get them a bit smoother. You can see the second porthole there on the floor is more the colour that I'm going to be going for. So there's a little preview for anybody feeling observant. You can see there's a green mark on identifying which window each one goes around, and here I'm just really knocking off the edges of the back, just for completeness, really. It doesn't I didn't think that was crucial, but it felt like the right thing to do to finish them off. And then there's all 5 of them sanded off, and then I'm into the you can see up in the top right hand corner there, that's a fairly good example of one of the sort of steps that I was taking out or smoothing off a bit. Anyway, but really it was all about the faces, and well, this seemed like a better way of doing things. With this, it got clogged up fairly quickly as well, so kept on having to replace the pads on these. And yeah, I obviously didn't want to kind of sand away too much of the surface, but I did want to get the wax off. Not something that I have any experience of before, so again, I couldn't bring myself to throw away sanding paper that was sanding pads that were perfectly suitable, usable, if I just scraped off some of the wax. So that was what I did. And I did replace them quite frequently as well, but there was also just before I got to the point of replacing them, then I would just scrape them off occasionally. And yeah, I mean, I'd done 4 of these. I really don't understand why I did 4 of them wrong before realizing that I'd done them wrong, but I did. And I guess I sort of I was keen to make progress. These really were sort of getting in the way, and they take up quite a lot of space on the boat, and they're quite fragile, or I perceived them as quite fragile. Didn't want to put any marks on them or anything, so I was being quite protective of them, and so they were taking up a fair amount of space in the saloon diner area. But using the oscillating tool seemed like quite a good way of doing things. It seemed to work better than the palm sander that I had inside there. And so anyway, it was just a question of keeping on really. And well, there's not a lot more that I can say really, but I'm not going to get the music out at this point in time. So we'll reach for the Jeremy waffle. I'm not sure what shall I waffle about today. I don't. Well, it was quite satisfying this day getting these all undone, and knowing that I had a way forward for them was satisfying, even if this took pretty much, I don't know how long it took, but it certainly basically an entire day or two. I think I probably didn't want to revisit this experience, which is probably one of the things that stopped me editing down the videos. As you can see, I'm really trying to get into the corners to get the wax out, because the last thing that I want was sort of a couple of little areas to be different, and you to be able to see that I had not got this right. Yeah, so anyway, I had the one porthole that Brad had done with me, and I actually put that in place at the end of this, and had it there for some time. Having realised that the first one was wrong, then I really didn't want to do any more and get them wrong again and have to undo it, because well, you're still here, so am I. It's just a long process, and right, I am going to stop commenting on this and cut out the next one. Yep, I'm going to cut this. I think I cut out 2 more of those window frames. I certainly cut out a fair chunk. Anyway, these are the portholes, and I'm afraid I didn't show me fitting these inside before coming out to sand them off. But essentially, what I'm doing is I'm going inside and seeing how they're all tight. There's one of them that's just a light interference fit, just perfect, and all the others required a little bit of fettling to make them fit over the porthole windows themselves. And so I'm just going in. I've marked each one of these at the top, so I know they're all going in at the same orientation, and then it's just a question of where did it not quite fit, how much do I need to sand off to get it to fit around the given porthole. Some of them needed more than others, but this drill with the little drum sander things on them, I bought these from Screwfix. They were, I think, £8 or something. They work very well. I ran out of batteries a number of times, and so on, but it was just a question of in out. You can see I even ran out of batteries completely. I changed the drill, but with all that done, then these fit on. Each of them is a nice little tight fit, and so they all fit. So at this point, then I've just put in the one porthole that's the right colour. It's not actually firmly attached or anything. It's a light interference fit, and the other window, the bus window frames, are still getting in the way. Yeah, then I kind of carried on with a few other things. But if you subscribe, then you'll come back and see what I get up to next. Take care. Bye.